If you feel all over the place in life, if you feel like turning to food is your go-to every time you encounter a problem, if you feel like you are just scatterbrained and filled with brain fog, then you're in the right place, because we are going to go over the 6 reasons why you're stressed and what you can do about it. And for those of you who do not know me, I'm Avi Unfiltered, international speaker, international best-selling author of The Power of Why book, holistic health coach, and founder of my 12-week Keep Stress Away program, where I teach women just like you how to get rid of their stress in 90 days through nutrition, lifestyle, and spirituality with my 6-step stress away method. And there is a method to the madness when it comes to stress, believe it or not. And before I continue, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell and give this video a thumbs up if you absolutely enjoy it at that, okay? So there's a very good reason why you are feeling stressed. In fact, there's 6, and we're going to go over those 6 reasons today. The very first reason, which I'm going to dive into in just a second, is actually what changed my life, and I've seen it change so many people's lives. And this is the very reason, this is the main reason people are completely ignoring all over the board. I see so many people dealing with mood disorders and hormone imbalances, and I'm like, oh, you're missing that first step in your life, that very, very first step. And that first step is nutrition. So nutrition has changed my life completely in terms of stress. And the reason being is when you're not getting certain nutrients in your body, let's say your diet consists of fast food like McDonald's and Burger King and Pizza Hut, and those are all the places I used to frequent, so I'm no different. I don't think I'm better than anybody, because I was there where you were. And I remember my moods. I remember not being able to find my center. And I would hear people talk about like bananas and chocolate, how they help you calm down, especially when I went to school for performance. And I would hear people say that, you know, bananas and chocolate, they help you calm down. So I started to open my mind to food being a resource. I was very against certain medications for nervousness and anxiety and things of that nature. So I definitely started to look at nutrition. Come 2011, 2012 is when I started to see a significant change in my health. I was losing weight. I wasn't addicted to food because I recognized that food was here for nourishment and things of that nature. And I would say 2014 is when I started to feel a bit more euphoric when it came to food, because this is when I was a strict vegan. Those other years I was a junk food vegan. And so I honed in on my nutrition, and the reason being that nutrition helps you with, you know, mood disorders and mental health is because of the nutrients that they contain. You know, they're vitamins and minerals. Those are the nutrients. Your body needs specific nutrients in order for it to function. Now, depression, schizophrenia, bipolar disorder have been linked to chronic inflammation. And in order to avoid feeling out of balance and feeling off balance, it's really important to hone in on your nutrition. I highly recommend plant-based. You don't necessarily have to go vegan, but making sure that the bulk of your meals are, you know, fruits and veggies and nuts and seeds in some amounts. And make sure that's the bulk of your meal, because you're going to get your vitamin B, your magnesium, your vitamin A and C, your vitamin K, and I just heard your catecholamines, which are your norepinephrine, epinephrine, and dopamine, are going to really appreciate that. And you're going to find that your serotonin levels are extremely balanced when you do that. So the first step is looking at your nutrition, because your nutrition can cause your cortisol levels to raise. It can change your mood. It could make you feel brain foggy and all over the place when you don't feel settled, because you are contributing, you know, your food is contributing to a gut imbalance, which causes inflammation in your brain as well, and causes cardiovascular problems, which is why I say those are your 3 minds: your gut, heart, and your brain. So that is step one, looking at your nutrition. Step two is your time management. Your time management and your grocery shopping, believe it or not. The way you grocery shop. You know, a lot of people, we were taught how to read books, whether we were 4, 3, 4, or 5, doesn't matter. But in terms of food label literacy, which is what I teach my clients when I work with them, a lot of people weren't taught that. You know, you see General Mills Cheerios and you're like, oh, it's cereal. I'm going to feed my children cereal and I'm going to eat cereal and we're all going to eat cereal, you know. And there's great marketing on the front of it. It's like whole grains and I don't know, a lot of salad dressings say fat-free. And so you really trust that because how you're interpreting, and you also need food label literacy comprehension too, because you may read something, but how you're interpreting it is a different story. So that's why we need to learn how to read and then comprehend what we're actually reading. So normally I teach my clients to not only look at the front, but look at the back. And most of the time they don't have to look at anything because you're shopping in mostly the produce aisles. And somewhat in the other sections. So I highly recommend learning how to read food labels because that's going to show you what's going in your body, the amounts that are going in your body, so your levels can stay balanced. And this is crucial because I remember when I was 26, I didn't know how far off my blood levels were. And I found out that I was diabetic and had liver damage. So you really want to be careful with the amounts you're putting in your bodies. And periodically you want to check your blood levels, okay? So you definitely want to have the time management piece is what I want to talk about too. A lot of times when you're a busy professional woman, and the majority of my clients, if not all of them, have children. And so you want to make sure that you're putting yourself as a priority because let's face it, if you're not mentally well, how are you going to be there to support, if you're a wife, how are you going to be there to support your husband? How is your husband going to be there to, you know, whatever the scenario is, whoever's watching this. How are you going to be there mentally to support your children? So it's best to put yourself first, have a solid routine. It doesn't have to be this lengthy 4-hour routine that some people do, which is completely fine if you have that kind of time. But for those of you who don't, making sure you have a solid sleep schedule every single day and also a time where you can get up and you can, whether that's meditate, go running, exercise, set aside time to see like what bills, I call them statements, but you may call them bills, what bills you need to pay. Have a solid, organizational technique. And that's what I teach my clients. I also teach them how to create around their peace too, which we're going to learn a little bit later. So time management also, because that's going to keep you steady, consistent, and very focused. So the third step is that self-love and boundaries, because I find that, yes, internally we deal with issues, especially if you've dealt with trauma. That's where a lot of stress stems from, believe it or not, is traumatic situations. And traumatic situations impact how you deal with life and how you deal with stressful situations. This is why people have certain attachment issues, and whether it's avoidant attachment or anxious avoidant, or there's various things. Anxious attachment, codependencies. This is why people have certain attachment styles based off of the trauma, and when things stress them out, it triggers that traumatic situation and it causes a reaction. So that's where the stress stems from. So having that self-love and boundaries in place is going to be crucial in, are you going to deal with this stressful situation by eating more food, eating junk food because you feel like crap, you feel low about yourself because of what someone said to you, or what are the other techniques you can do? So having that self-love in place and setting those boundaries with yourself. For instance, like with me, when I was sick and I knew I was sick, I still ate certain foods. It took me getting constant blood tests, and it took me finding certain diagnoses for certain things to recognize, you cannot have 20 medjool dates because you're going to get a sugar headache, and that's going to make you feel like shit. So what I do now is that's a boundary for me. I know I cannot have a certain amount of food because this is what it's going to cause me. Sometimes that will kick your ass in gear when you have a food addiction, you know? In terms of self-love and boundaries, when you've been treated like absolute garbage by certain people, you may allow certain people in your life that may treat you like garbage as well. So what you want to do is actually grab my You Are the Interviewer cheat sheet. It's going to show you how to actually interview people before they come into your life and like fuck shit up and make you want to punch them. So in order to avoid that, you want to fill that sheet out and also discover what your boundaries are. Those boundaries are beautiful. Remember that. It's not, when I say boundaries, it's not you pushing people away. It's you embracing the right people, and it's you negating the right people and repelling certain people. Remember, that's okay. A lot of times too, and this is what I work with my clients on, when you repel people, you kind of feel bad because you want to get along with everybody because maybe people didn't like you and they put you down. So you want to people please and be well liked. And let's just face it, that's not the real world we live in. You could be the best kind person in the world and some people are going to find what not to like about you. And you have to understand that that's okay, because at the end of the day, you have to live with yourself. You live in your body, okay? So that's step 3. Step 4 is exercise. You have to exercise and move your body to release those endorphins, because when your body is stagnant, your lymph is not moving. So let's say you were in a toxic situation the day before. Your body is holding on to that toxic situation. Why? Because if you're sedentary, it's holding everything in. The way your body processes food is similar to the way it processes situations. So you want to make sure you're sweating that out, you're eliminating that, and you're realigning your body daily. So setting aside time, you could even, if you're busy, you could do 5 to 10 minutes in between meetings, in between, whether it's bathing your children, whether it's feeding your children. You could simply do 5 jump squats. Have your children, if you do have children, have them do jump squats with you. Make them active as well. If you're doing a plank, you know, usually children, they'll follow you. I know when I had my nieces and nephews over before a while back, they mimicked what I was doing. They wanted to do planks. You know, they wanted to eat what I was eating, especially one of my little nieces. If she sees me eating something, she's going to do it. So that takes the stress off of you, because it's something that you both can do, and they're not going to cause you more stress because they're doing what you're doing. It's peaceful for them. You know, you can get your children involved. So if you don't have children and you're just a busy person, or you work for yourself, making sure that you do some form of exercise. Like, if you know that you can't stick to a program, like a workout program, don't put that much pressure on yourself, because then that's going to cause that failure, and then that perfectionism is going to come, and then you're going to beat yourself up and go into a depression. And then here comes the Samoas from Girl Scout, like the Girl Scout cookie addiction, you know? So to eliminate that, just say you're going to do some form of movement daily. Stick to push-ups if you don't exercise regularly. Stick to planks. Stick to running. Stick to walking for 30 minutes, okay? Don't be too hard on yourself. Just implement it daily. Make sure your lymph is moving 30 to 60 minutes per day, okay? At least. Because we all know that body loves to move. So that's step 4. Step 5. Yes, you have the ability to create around your peace. So if you do work for a boss, fine. Obviously, you work for a boss. You don't really have autonomy to do what you want. However, when you get up and when you come home, that's all you. How do you want to create your life? Do you need to meditate before you go into work? So it's all about the necessity of what you need that will eliminate stress. So this 5th step is creation dreamer's life, I call it. This is all about you creating the life of your dreams. I had a client that didn't specifically like her job and quit it and got another one. And she absolutely loves that one. I had another client that in the midst of working the 9 to 5, she opened up an Etsy shop and started painting. So this is the step where you get to decide what you absolutely love doing. Okay, because this is what's going to keep the momentum up in your life. So let's say you do work for someone, but you know you have this purpose that's like calling you and calling you and calling you. What you want to do is start to write a plan. You can write it, get one of my notebooks. I have vision boards in there if you need that to guide you, and start to create a plan like, okay, how much do I need to survive? Basically, let's say, I don't know, let's say you are married, you have children. I don't know, let's say you make, I don't know, 100,000 at your job currently, right? And that seems to be enough for you right now. So you're like, okay, if I cut back a couple days and I do this, how much should I be making? So you want to just map out all of that, okay, in that step. So that's 5. A lot of people don't feel like they can do that, but you can, and that's why it goes back to step 2. Your organization skills are truly, truly important, because that's going to cause you in those days where you feel completely overwhelmed, your brain is organized. You can see it. Writing it down really helps. Like I said, you could grab my notebooks. If you are not married and you're single and you work for someone, or you work for yourself and you don't like what you're doing, see how much you can make with the other one. Just see how you can support yourself, and then gradually incorporate that in, okay? So that's step 5. Step 6 is living the life you love. What do you love doing daily? So it's implementing all of these steps, and what I usually show in this step when I work with my clients is how to create their very own schedule. Well, that's in step 5 too, but step 6 is all about implementing that schedule that we created for you, that's created around your peace. So I constantly see how they function daily. Like, I'm like, okay, what do you need to function? Like, what do you need? What time do you want to get up? Because there's a bunch of people saying get up at 5, it's the best time. All your bodies are different. Some people like to get up at 11 a.m. That's completely fine. What do you need? A lot of times when you don't feel deserving, it's like, oh, I'm not allowed to say that. You are allowed, and I'm giving you permission. If you need someone to give you permission, you are allowed to create the day that you want. I want to hear from you. How many of you would love to create your life and would love to transform your life? I want to know. Write that in the comments. So with this program, people end up with my 6 steps that I just showed you, and I hope you absolutely love this video. People end up completely transforming mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. People get rid of anxiety and stress within like 2 weeks of working with me. And come back and say, you helped me with my anxiety and stress, because there's a method to life. You're not on this earth to suffer and be depressed. And if you are, there are ways to get out of that. And that's with nutrition, lifestyle, and spirituality. So I hope you love this video, and I hope you share it. Make sure you hit the notification bell again, and you give this video a thumbs up if you absolutely liked it. And I will see you in the next one, Loverly Peacefuls. Have a wonderful day if you wish to have one.